when you ask someone, do you support animal cruelty? And they say, no, I don't, but their actions say otherwise. There's this cognitive dissonance there. Their beliefs and their actions are not aligned. And Jordan Peterson, who's not vegan, said this greatly. He said, your beliefs are not just intellectual. They're shown through your actions. So intellectually, most people are completely vegan because they don't want to see a conscious sentient being such as a cow, chicken, pig, and the like be murdered needlessly, on top of already living in terrible conditions where their life just involves harm, suffering, pain, and it doesn't have to happen, but it does anyways. And so there's this contradiction. There's this hypocrisy because a lot of people have the opinion and hold the opinion that they don't want to see animals get harmed, yet they go and support it. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Conscious Cal YouTube channel. I'm your host, Cal, along with my other boy, unfortunately not Mr. Jason Scalora, who is on party/medical leave. Hey guys, we're not doing a little podcast episode. I think we're going to talk about like a little episode, nice and short, probably like 10 to 15 minutes, about veganism. As many of you know, I am pretty much completely plant-based. I'm not completely vegan as my lifestyle. It still involves animal exploitation, and that's something I am going to get better at, right? But in my current situation, it's not the easiest, but I'm doing, in my opinion, as good as I can. But I think I could do better. In my opinion, I could do a lot better, right? Whatever. As many of you know, veganism is a very divisive issue. It's a very emotional issue that doesn't have to be emotional. It's a very highly intense issue that people don't want to have conversations about, and I'm the first one there. That's why I'm doing it over a camera. That's a lot easier for me, but I got to get better at doing those in person as well, too. But it's a very pressing issue as it has become a very prevalent movement within the past, I'd probably say, 10 to 15 years, and there's been an incredible amount of people that have gone vegan and just completely changed their way of life based on ethical reasons, health reasons, environmental reasons, and the like. It's a pressing matter that I think each and every single one of us is going to have to face in the near future. And do I think that people, businesses, organizations, people in power are going to capitalize off of this and make it into something that it's actually not? Absolutely. And I already see it, like the centralized food system, Bill Gates, we're coming for you. Nah, dog, we're not talking about that here. We're talking about the ethics of veganism and what I believe is what you should truly go vegan for. And I want to put this disclaimer in here right now. I did the same thing in my divisive issues episode. When I bring up this opinion, just be aware of your own opinion. Be aware of the prejudices, the inclinations, the biases that you already have if you're on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, and not completely give in to that opinion. Not even trying to understand what I'm saying, right? And just being like, oh God, this fuck hell. Like everything that he says is wrong, right? Just try and keep that opinion to the side as far as possible. You're not going to be able to completely do it, but just keep it here and with your other eye or concentration, just try to understand me to the best as possible. And then take that previous viewpoint and the one and all the information that I just told you, the best that you've been able to understand, and contrast that with your already opinion. And then hopefully that challenging opinion can help you develop an even better understanding of what's going on. And maybe you change your opinion, maybe you don't. I'm not the one that controls that, right? You are. Do I think you should have a certain opinion and view on this matter? Absolutely. And would I love you to? Absolutely. But I'm not going to force you to. That's impossible. And I'm not going to make it emotional. I'm not going to make it super like, oh, you motherfucker. Like, no. Like, I just want to have a civil conversation, a rational conversation that allows us to grow as individuals and move towards a common collective solution. So without any further ado, let me read you guys the definition of veganism so you have a clear-cut understanding of what veganism is, and we'll take it from there. Veganism is a philosophy and a way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose, and by extension promotes the development and the use of animal-free alternatives for the benefit of animals, humans, and the environment. In dietary terms, it denotes the practice of dispensing with all products deriving wholly or partly from animals. So in short, veganism is an ethical philosophy that guides an individual's way of life in which they do not involve any of their decisions, practices, disciplines, behaviors based on the use of cruelty to or harm based on animals, right? So no animal-based products. And so just to make this video kind of succinct and short, and to bring you guys the biggest points of view, is eating meat and dairy and eggs, animal-based products, is not a necessity. Okay, Cal, what do you mean by that? When you go to the store, when you go to a restaurant, or anything in general, there is choice in a lot of these, particularly in the dietary area, right? In the consumption of food area. Thus, there is a lot of alternatives that we can use to substitute for these animal-based products. On that basis, when we realize that we as consumers have a much more bigger impact than we think we do, when we, as seen over the past 10 years, when we make these demands, for like animal or plant-based products, organizations, in order to thrive and to continue to sufficiently hit their bottom line in this capitalistic society, have shifted what they provide. As more people have demanded plant-based products, more plant-based products have come up and are now being offered. Once we realize that eating meat is not a necessity, it puts a lot of pressure on us because we no longer have a really good justification for why we kill sentient conscious beings that want to live. And when you ask someone, do you support animal cruelty? Do you support animal harm? They're like, no. But how about you pull out that receipt from the past couple weeks, the past year? How many animal-based products have you purchased? Because that says otherwise, right? If you purchase animal-based products, you support animal cruelty. That's just how it is. So if I purchase a chicken, a dead chicken from the store, a chicken had to die. If I purchase milk from the store, most likely that cow had to be artificially inseminated, right? A fist had to go up, that motherfucker's ass, right? In order for them to make milk. Most oftentimes, more than not, these animals are living in really poor conditions. They're constantly being exploited and used simply as much as possible to provide these type of products, and where they'll die anyways, short of their expected lifespan, right? And so you're supporting animal cruelty and animal harm when you purchase these products, because obviously you're not the one doing the harm, right? You're not the one actively killing the animal. But what you tell these stores is you want more animal-based products. Therefore, they, through you paying them, demand those animal-based products from factory farm companies, and they provide those animal-based products. So the chain of demand comes from us. So if we begin to change the decisions we make at stores and restaurants and the like, that really comes from our intellectual understanding, which I'll touch on in a little bit, then we will begin to see a lot less animals and being harmed and the like. And I'm talking specifically in the big area and domain of factory farming. Like I'm getting back to before, when you ask someone, do you support animal cruelty? And they say, no, I don't, but their actions say otherwise. There's this cognitive dissonance there, i.e., their beliefs and their actions are not aligned. And Jordan Peterson, who's not vegan, said this greatly. He said, your beliefs are not just intellectual. They're shown through your actions. So intellectually, most people are completely vegan because they don't want to see a conscious sentient being, such as a cow, chicken, pig, and the like, be murdered needlessly, on top of already living in terrible conditions where their life just involves harm, suffering, pain, and it doesn't have to happen, but it does anyways. And so there's this contradiction, right? There's this hypocrisy. It's one of the biggest things when it comes to arguments for veganism, because a lot of people have the opinion and hold the opinion that they don't want to see animals get harmed, yet they go and support it. It's this major contradiction. But a lot of people, since culture, since society, have been conditioned to believe that eating meat, dairy, and eggs is okay. They don't see this contradiction. They don't see this cognitive dissonance that's going on. So they just continue to eat dairy, eggs, and meat and think it's okay, think it's ethical. And a lot of times, maybe they see like a documentary like Game Changers or the like, and they're like, okay, I want ethically sourced meat. Like I want meat that's been harvested from a butcher where they've lived a good life, or like free range eggs or whatever, grass-fed beef, right? Like, just different type of, in my opinion, propagated terms that make you think that this meat is more ethical. But let me ask you a question. Oh yeah, I got a couple questions for you. And once again, you do not have to agree with me, okay? I'm just simply presenting challenging information that may alter your viewpoint. And if you have something that you want to say down below in the comment section, go for it. But I just ask, to the best of your ability, try not to get emotional. Try and say it in a manner that's respectable, proactive and we can have a genuine conversation where we don't have to make this stuff personal. We don't have to have all these ad hominem attacks on each other and just make this in a way bigger of an issue that it's not. When people see like ethical based meat, like the Ethical Butcher, for example, like an England-based company where they truly care about their animals. They truly care about their quality of life. They truly care about their state of minds. They truly care about them as individuals. They often convey the objectified form of meat that they're presenting to you is cruelty-free. And although they may be killed in a way that's not like slitting their throats, it's just like a quick bolt to the head and cruelty-free in that sense. Their life is still being cut short. They're still involved in a process of going down the line. So even though they may have a couple years, a couple months of a cruelty-free life, who is it for us as human beings, as individuals, to cut their life short? And a lot of times people be like, well, it was their time to go. And that implies they had to go. But did they actually? These individuals, and when I say this, I know you're like, a chicken's an object. A cow's an object. I can just do what I want with it. Now, if you're holding that opinion, understand how selfish that opinion is. Understand that the opinion that you hold that you can do whatever you want with this, like you own them, they have no rights, they're your slaves in a sense, you really got to take a look at that. Because these are conscious beings that want to live a pleasurable life just like us. They have preferences, they have a personality, they have a will to live, they're a subject of a life, right? They have emotions, feelings, they're playful, and came up in my philosophy class. And when I first came across this, I was like, really? And then when you really start to begin to think about it, your cat or your dog, right? Does your cat have any tendencies or like where they like to sleep, right? Does your dog like to go on walks, right? They have preferences. They have things that they prefer and they have things that they want to avoid, because when they want to avoid them, it shows that they don't want that pain. They don't want that suffering. They don't want that distress in their life, right? They want to live a pleasurable life. And so even if they are living a quote unquote pleasurable life, who is it for us to cut their life short when we don't have to cut their life short? And once again, you're not the one that's harming these animals, but you're actively supporting it through your choices, through your decisions. And if you're like, Cal, what the hell is my one little choice at my local grocery store gonna make? It makes a big difference, because if you're like me and you're like a previous bodybuilder that would have meat like twice a day, that's 730 animals that had to die for me to have that one partial piece of meat. That's a lot of meat, dude. That's a lot of individuals that had to die. But once we begin to realize that you actually make a much bigger difference than you think you do, and that you do not have to support animals being harmed, you can make a difference individually. That's when you begin to realize and understand that what we have going on right now in society with active factory farming, with these ethical local butchers that pretty much make animals their slaves. Once you realize that animals are, first off, artificially bred into existence by humans, for instance, a cow, a chicken, or the like, is impregnated by a human. For instance, like a cow is artificially inseminated by a human. So they take bull semen that they've got from pretty much jacking off a bull, and then they take their fist, they put it in a cow's anus, and they put it into the cow's anus, and oh, baby, well, birds and bees, and they're just continually put through this process, and they're impregnated in order for them to have milk. They suck the hell out of their guts. They take their babies away when they're really young. They live in poor conditions, often in their own poop, their own things, and it's not as free range as it seems. I mean, it's just terrible. And so they're pretty much put into this slave situation, right, where they get, maybe they get like some sunlight, maybe they get some like good food, and maybe like, don't get me wrong, there's definitely better conditions for certain animals than others, but they're put in this process that doesn't have to occur. And so once we realize that we can extend rights, that we can extend consideration to beings beyond ourselves, then we can develop a society where animals aren't needlessly being harmed for no particular reason. I understand a lot of people will bring up, okay, Cal, if we were all to go vegan, what would that mean for us? What would that mean for the health of our society? What would that mean for all these animals that have already been produced, have been created by humans? Like, what goes on about that? It's going to be a slow and gradual process that happens over time, in theory at least. And as the demand goes down for meat, animal-based products, the amount of animals will decline with it as well. Over time, these animals that aren't even supposed to be in existence already will go down over time. And then as time goes on, and as there is more of a demand for vegan-based products, right? And I understand veganism is not completely healthy, like a vegan-based burger. Oh man, it's just like the amount of sodium in that and like the lack of low calorie dense is not there for a lot of products, but it's a great substitution. It's a great alternative that people can easily substitute in for that taste-based pleasure. And we'll get to that in a little bit. Over time, there'll be more of a localized food system. There'll be more research. There'll be more development into creating healthier based alternatives that individuals can turn to on a mass scale and can develop a plant-based diet that suits their needs as well as people around them and the like. And so that's, in my opinion, a little bit in theory, and I know it's kind of vague. I know it's kind of out there. I'm not an expert in this by any means. Once again, sharing my opinion to the best of my knowledge. And I just want to kind of transition this to asking yourself this big question. Now, Earthling Ed says, listen, I know when you face veganism, it's like this, dude, it's just like, it's so overwhelming. But all you got to ask yourself, in his terms, is what do you value more, the life or taste? Because if you're justifying meat based on taste, oftentimes it's that cognitive dissonance again. And so what does that mean? Let's just say I justify it based on taste, right? I justify it based on pleasure and the like. If we use that logic consistently, that would mean rape would be okay, right? Because, I just like the pleasure of, having sex. So therefore, I'm just going to go and do it, and there's going to be no consequences. It's ethically justifiable. Rape, other harm, murder, right? Just because you like it, that's why you do it, for this sensory pleasure. Sure, already that we can see there is a major flaws in using taste as a justification. But a lot of times people will, on the other side, they'll be like, I actually value life a lot more. And so on that basis, it's once again, it comes back to this cognitive dissonance, right? Intellectually, they're vegan, but through their habits and behaviors, they just continue along with the crowd and they just do it just to do it. They really have no reasoning, no clear understanding of why they do what they do, right? They just do it because it's just what's been told to them. They've never questioned it. And do I think individuals should go out there and question and do research on their own and come to their own conclusion? Absolutely, right? But when you're just following the crowd, following what everyone else does, look at the harm that it can cause. I think it's billions of factory farmed animals get killed every year. Now, if you include fish in that, trillions of animals get killed every year. And it is by far the greatest travesty on planet Earth. The amount of suffering that has been caused, the treatment of these animals, it's just terrible. Like, we just do what we want with them. We just use them for our own benefit, once again, when we don't have to. When you look at this, right, when you start to value life over taste, when you start to value life over your own benefit, just because you want to be a bodybuilder or what, that you can actually get all the protein you need from a plant-based diet. And according to external studies from third parties that have said veganism is safe at all stages of life. And like I said before, I'm not completely vegan myself in terms of the lifestyle. Like, I'm completely plant-based dietary, and that's what I think you should start with. And it's definitely a hard lifestyle to completely adjust to. But as you start to begin to make these subtle changes, these subtle decisions, instead of picking up the meat that has been objectified, and you understand that was an individual with preferences, with likes, dislikes, that was affectionate, that cared, that had a family. And I know I'm kind of going on this like little tangent right here, but when you start to begin to understand how that meat was sourced and how dairy and the like was sourced through research and just your own knowledge, you begin to understand that there's something deeper there. It goes beyond just that slab of meat. It goes beyond just what taste it has for me. An individual had to suffer or die in order for you to get that piece of meat or dairy or the like. And it seems so harmless. It seems like, nothing's going on. But once you begin to understand that, it hits you like a fucking rock, dude. And once again, veganism is not perfect, but it's, in my opinion, the most cruelty-free path. So with that being said, I know it was kind of all over the place. I know I didn't cover all the areas of veganism, but in essence, eating animal-based products is not a necessity. You can begin to make the changes today that do not continue to support animal cruelty, and you can begin to not be a hypocrite, not be in an active contradiction, and start to live a more consistent life, a more ethical life, a more justifiable life that doesn't involve cruelty or harm of our fellow brothers and sisters. And so this is an issue that I hold deeply and closely to my heart, and I still don't think I do a good job of saying it. But I think if anybody can take the information that I'm saying within this video and apply it to their own life, then I feel like I've done my job. And once again, you don't have to agree with me. Try to look at this as objectively as possible. I know it's not going to be easy. I know it's going to be hard. I know that you're going to have these inclinations to just be like, motherfucker, cow. Just question your own beliefs, man, because we live in a society where so many things just get swept under the rug, man. And this goes beyond just veganism. This goes beyond just society in general, right? It just shows how corrupt of a life that we can live, but it just seems so normalized. Seems so normal. Seems like no harm's going on, right? Just because it's become so habitual. And that's why you really got to actively question these things and make decisions and actions in your life that are going to be hard, but you have to be a leader rather than a follower, because look what the crowd has developed. Trillions of deaths. Every year, dude. Every year. And harm to the planet and to themselves. So if you guys want me to do another veganism video, let me know down below. With all that being said, guys, love yourself because I love you. Stay handsome. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Let me know down below if you have any critiques, concerns, or you think I'm just butt-ass ugly. That's cool, too. I will get offended. No, I won't get offended. But, yeah, guys, make sure you love yourself because I love you. Stay handsome, and we are clocking out, people. Peace.